Hello and welcome back. And I'm so glad that I am managing to do a second reading today, although it's kind of late, but I'm not too tired, so I'll be able to do another reading today. And I'm not sure what will happen in the next few days, and I am trying to do readings whenever I can. And now that I am over the first one and I'm not so excited as I was before, I think that I can talk a little bit longer about our situation. And if any of you is not interested, there will be a timestamp down below, and I think that my computer problem is okay now. It's fixed, so it will be easier for me to upload. Okay, so I will let you in a little bit on our feelings in the past week or so. It wasn't easy, after over 6 months of demonstrations and fights. And you need to understand that the demonstrations are not easy. There is a lot of police violence, and there is a lot of violence inside the population against us. Just for example, last week there were a few people that were ran over by drivers that decided that they just don't have the patience to wait because the demonstrations were blocking roads, and they were too upset about that, so they just started driving fast and they ran over. There is a young mother who has a 6-month-old baby who has broken her thigh. So some people are really seriously wounded, and this is really horrible. And last week, another person that was really pissed went out of his car with a sword and started threatening it to people. Now we're still not in the same position where people have guns as much as they do in the United States. But if our police minister will have his way, many people will have. He already issued 10,000 guns permits since he started his job in the past 6 months. That's 10,000 more than there were that last year. And most of the people that receive these permits are not people that really can be trusted with guns. So the situation here internally is really deteriorating, and this is something that is really worrying. Now, a few of the things that happened in the past week since the law passed. Many doctors started talking about going away. In the past few days, there were talks about at least 2 doctors that already notified that they are leaving. 2 very pronounced doctors in Israel, head of departments, that just notified that they are leaving for the States, leaving for the UK, leaving for other places, just because they don't want to even take the risk of of staying here if there is no democracy here. Now, you know how Prime Minister is interviewing, goes to interviews and is trying to belittle our worries. And this is not only infuriating, it's painful to see how slow he considers our worries and our fears. And now he even criticizes the President of the United States. This is like, I mean, who does he think he is? Last week we had a very difficult day here in Israel. Now, you know that we are celebrating the Jewish holidays according to the Jewish calendar. There is a Jewish calendar, and the Jewish holidays are celebrated according to the Jewish calendar. And we are now in the month that is called Av. And last week there was the beginning of the month, and last Thursday was the 9th of Av, which is Tisha B'Av. Now, this is a very significant date for Jews, because on this date, the temple in Jerusalem was demolished twice. In the first temple and the second temple. This is according to the legend, or according to custom. It was first demolished during biblical times, when the Jewish people did not do what God told them to do, and that was the punishment. They were told to leave the land of Israel by the Babylonian empire, and the temple was demolished. The second time was around 70 AC, after count, when the Romans ruled here, and the Jews decided to go out in a rebellion against the Roman. Now, the problem was that the Jews in between themselves were not united. There was a lot of hatred. There was a lot of how do you say that? Not only hatred, but a lot of disagreement. And what happened is that Jerusalem is on top of a mountain, and Jerusalem at that time was a city that could have stayed for a long time with food and water, could have stayed for a long time, strong in front of an army, without an army occupying it. And because of the hatred and because of the fighting in between the Jews, there was it's a long story, but what happened is that one group inside Jerusalem burnt the storage of food inside Jerusalem. And what happened is that once the rebellion started and the Romans came to Jerusalem, there was no food in Jerusalem to withstand the Roman occupation. And the Romans came and they took over Jerusalem, and they demolished the second temple. And that was the second time where the Jewish people were banished from the land of Israel. And and we only came back in the beginning of the 19th century. Now, last week, a few days before Tisha B'Av, the government decided to vote on this law that is the first step of demolishing our democracy. Now, we talked to the members of parliament. We tried to convince them. We tried to tell them, don't do the mistake of our forefathers. Don't start hatred. Don't start what happened before. Don't make our country weaker because of hatred, because of fighting within ourselves. And still they passed the law. This was really, really, really very painful because we felt that we are not heard. And last week, I mean, usually Tisha B'Av is a day that just passes through, and I don't pay attention to this day, not really. Many Jews fast that day. I don't, because I'm not religious, but religious Jews do fast to remember the demolishing of the temple. And the funny thing is that the religious Jews that fasted last week, because of the demolishing of the temple, were the ones that are responsible and will be responsible for the demolishing of our third temple if Israel will not withstand this crisis. So it was really, really painful, and this is one of the reasons why this week was so hard for me to move forward, and why it was so hard for me to come back. Okay, so this is the update on Israel. And another headline that I saw today was about TRAVALYST. So apparently TRAVALYST came out with a new agenda, a new plan, something new. And Harry is nowhere to be found there. Harry is not mentioned at all in this new plan of TRAVALYST. And the question is, what is happening there? Is TRAVALYST trying to distance themselves from Harry because Harry is toxic? Is Harry's actually cutting his ties from TRAVALYST? What is going on there? Why didn't they even mention his name? I mean, he was the one who launched TRAVALYST. They were so proud in his Just Harry speech. They were so proud to have his name there. So it was such a big event. And then he made this advertisement in, I think, New Zealand about TRAVALYST. And naturally, TRAVALYST was stuck in the days of the coronavirus. But now there is no virus anymore. So there is no reason not to launch this idea or whatever it means. I don't know exactly what they want to do with this, but whatever they want to do with this, I mean, this was something that Harry was part of from the beginning. So why isn't he part of it right now? So this is what I'm going to look into. And because this is about nature, this is about doing things that are connected to nature, I'm using nature-connected decks, and this is the Forest Folklore Tarot. So this is a tarot deck that is folklore, but is also about forest and nature. So this is the first, this is the tarot deck. And once again, I'm going to do a freestyle reading, and let's see where it takes us. So let's start by saying my disclaimer. This is a tarot reading. It is vibrational. It is open to interpretation. It exists as assumptions and speculation, and as such, may or may not be true. So please do your own research and decide for yourselves. Okay, let's just finish this and clear the deck. Okay, so why did TRAVALYST cut ties with Harry? Is it really cutting ties? Why didn't they mention Harry in their new venture? Why did TRAVALYST fail to mention Harry in their new venture? Is it really cutting ties with Harry? Is traveling trying to distance themselves from Harry? Is Harry cutting ties with TRAVALYST? What is the problem between TRAVALYST and Harry? Are the people in TRAVALYST realizing that Harry is not a very good publicity? What is the reason the people in TRAVALYST decided not to mention Harry in their new venture and their new publication? Why did they decide to omit the Prince Harry's name? Okay, so let's start. So the first card, I'm going to ask for a card that shows me the situation, what is going on. This is a significator card, and the situation as it is Six of Cups. Okay, so we've been getting Six of Cups, and Six of Cups is a kind of a unique card here, as you can see, because this Six of Cups looks kind of like the Five of Cups. If you remember how Five of Cups looks, Five of Cups is a card where a person is looking towards three spilled cups when behind him there are two cups that are still upright. And the Six of Cups in the Rider-Waite Tarot is about childhood, it's about nostalgia, it's about second chances. So here we have a little bit different card. This is a different look on the Six of Cups, because here we have four upright cups and two that are spilled. So this is a combination between the 5 and the 6. This is not a complete 5, this is not a complete 6. And if we look out there in the background, we see a naked woman. Now there is a lot of nudity in this deck, so I'm just telling you in advance. So some of the cards I might put a little bit far away, but what is this card trying to tell us? So let's start with the psychological interpretation of this card. So Six of Cups is about getting out of the comfort zone when we're talking about the interpretation of the card. So we are talking about getting out of the comfort zone. We're talking about TRAVALYST that are deciding to get out of the comfort zone, that are getting and they are starting something new. They are taking a second chance. This is a second chance for TRAVALYST after what happened when they launched their initiative, and that wasn't the right time because of what happened, and things just couldn't take off, and now it is a second chance. This is like rectifying the errors of the past. So this is why we get the Six of Cups, which is talking about second chances, about rectifying errors of the past. It's about getting out of the comfort zone. But the combination with the Five of Cups is about the despair, and this is about Harry that is being ostracized, that is being left aside. So Harry is the desperate one, and we got Harry the desperate one in my previous reading as well. So it looks like out of the Six of Cups, we got 2 cups that are spilled. This is like the 2 cups that are Harry's cups, that they don't need these 2 cups, and these are the 4 cups that are left. And this is like Harry that is standing there looking. This is my intuition that is talking. This is like Harry is standing there looking at what he could have had, but he doesn't have. This is a travelist that have decided that Harry is not helping them, that their association with Harry is not helping them moving forward, and in the back of their mind there is a woman, so it is connected to a woman, and this woman is there. So everything is going back to the woman, and even though I'm a feminist, I cannot unsee this. Okay, so let's just ask for a clarification. Is TRAVALYST cutting ties with Harry completely? And this is a yes card. The Six of Wands, I'm sorry, I got 2 cards here. So I got the Six of Wands, and I got Judgment card, and the Judgment card was in reverse. Interesting. So first of all, the actual card was the Judgment card. So let's put the Six of Wands in here, because this was the actual answer. And Judgment, as I said in my previous reading, and I'm saying it again, it is about a very major change. Now, this is not a yes or no card, but because it is about a major change, it is about a change that is not completely nullifying what happened before, but it is a change that is very painful. It is a process, but it is a necessary change. So for me, it is a kind of a yes answer, because it gives me the understanding that TRAVALYST realize that they need this change. They need a change, they need a major change, and their association with Harry is not helping them. And they need this very major change in order to move forward. So the Judgment card, which leads to the World card, to the card of completion and starting over, is a card that is talking about a major change, a process that is a painful process. So that wasn't easy for them to say to Harry, we need to say goodbye, we need to cut ties. And maybe this is not an actual cutting ties, but it is about telling Harry, you cannot be connected to us any longer, because your connection to us is not helping us. So we need to find a way of distancing ourselves from you. And the Judgment card is telling us that they made the judgment. This is a judgment call that they made. Now, remember that it came in the reverse. And since it became in the reverse, it shows us a problem of non-satisfaction. It shows a fear of change. Now, who is afraid of change? This is a question that I'm going to ask. But it also shows impatience. It shows passivity. It shows people that are letting others lead them. And it shows people that are expecting things to happen by themselves. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask, first of all, who is afraid of change? Who is afraid of change? Is it Harry? Is Harry afraid of change? Did Harry want, or the question is, did Harry want TRAVALYST to stay in contact, to stay in connection with TRAVALYST? Was Harry the one who couldn't bear the change or the disconnection with TRAVALYST? And the answer is the Hanged Man. So the Hanged Man is about, first of all, Harry feels that he is sacrificing himself. So he didn't want to sever ties with TRAVALYST, but Hangman is about feeling sacrificial. It is also about changing point of view. So it does show us that Harry realized that he needs to change the way that he sees things, that he needs to see things from TRAVALYST's point of view, that he needs to understand that for TRAVALYST, well-being, or for them to succeed, they cannot stay in close contact with him. So he did realize that he needs to sacrifice himself, but he does feel that he is self-sacrificing. So this is not him coming and saying, this is a good thing, this is something that I feel that this is something that is good for both of us. No, he feels that he feels a victim. This is what he feels. He feels a victim. He's upset about it. He is not happy about it. This is not something that he is happy. So he's afraid of the change, but he feels that he couldn't help it. So this is one thing that I wanted to ask about the judgment card. Another question about the judgment card is, if Harry is letting others lead him, who is leading Harry? So this is what I want to ask the next card. The next card is who has made the decision of making that disconnection. Was it Harry? Was it Meghan? Was it people in TRAVALYST? Who made that decision? So is it Harry letting others lead him, or is it Harry making that decision and doing that sacrifice? So let's see what card we're getting, and we're getting here the Fool. So another major arcana, and it's amazing how many major arcanas I've been receiving. And the Fool card is about, first of all, taking risks without thinking, without obligations. This is about valuing your freedom more than anything else. And this is about making reckless moves. This is about being hasty. And this is about starting things without ending them, and about the need for change. So if we are looking at both of these things, so both of these things don't go together. So if Harry feels that he sacrificed himself, then he couldn't felt that he is that he needs change. So it doesn't come out of the need for change. So it is the need of change from the side of a travelist. But one thing that we need to remember about the Fool card, that the Fool card sometimes makes mistakes, sometimes ignores reality, sometimes ignores obstacles, and sometimes burns bridges. So the question is, was it a good decision for Travelist, or is it going to be a bad one? Is it something that will help them move forward, or is it something that people will come out and say, you ditched Harry, that was not a good call? So is it going to help Travelist? Is distancing themselves from Harry going to help them? And the answer is the devil. No. The devil is a very bad card. This is a card of, all things bad. This is the card of darkness. This is the card of making mistakes. This is the card of doing everything that you can just think of that is bad. So it seems like Travelists are so scared for their reputation. They are so scared that their reputation might be harmed by Harry's reputation, because of Harry's addictions. I think that the addiction side comes here in the devil card, because of everything that is connected to Harry's reputation in the past few years. I think that Travelist got cold feet, and they took a risk. They took a risk. They took a hasty decision, and they took let's say, not only a hasty decision, but this is a risk without obligation. This is something that, without thinking it all the way through, this is about starting something out of need of change, but being agitated. This is out of false feeling of danger. They felt that their connection to Harry is dangerous for the reputation of Travelist, and this is not going to help them. This is going to hinder their reputation. They're not going to be looked at in a good light. They're going to be looked at as a company that, first of all, ditches someone who was there from the beginning, as a company who has submitted to some kind of urge to ditch someone because of fear, that just let fears rule them, and this is not going to help them. And I'm afraid that this is not a very good decision. Sometimes you need to understand that you need not to be carried away, and not to lose control. And this is what the devil is about. And what happens is that Harry is ending up with the feeling of being a victim, as if he sacrificed himself for the good of Travelist, so his reputation gets positive marks, and Travelist is getting negative marks. Okay, is it reversible? Is it? And I'm not forgetting the Six of Wands here. The Six of Wands came with the Judgment card, and I remember that, but it did come it did come as it stuck together. So I'm just thinking about how I'm going to incorporate it. But the next question is it reversible? Can TRAVALYST change things if they ask Harry back, or if they are going to incorporate Harry back? So is it reversible? And what I'm getting here is the Lady of Swords. The Lady of Swords, that is the Page of Swords in this deck, and the Page of Swords, that is the reporter. The reporter is the person who, or the archetype of the person who is slick-tongued, and usually I say that this person is someone who knows how to convince others people with talking, someone who knows how to talk other people to believe or to be on their side, and sometimes even not so truthful. So sometimes this is a liar, someone like a reporter, because reporters are not always people that are saying the truth. You know, not all reporters are truthful, but the Page of Swords is usually someone that is very good in verbal communications, but is also someone who is very good in studies and is an autodidactic. So in a question of whether or not it is reversible, this is a yes answer. Why is that? Because they can talk themselves, they can talk other people to believe that this was a mistake, that they can change things, that they didn't mean that. They can talk Harry to believe that this was a mistake, that they didn't mean that. So they can convince people. They have the ability to convince people by talking to them. So they can talk people to believing or to convince people by talking to them that what they are saying is truth. So when people can have this ability, that means that they can reverse a mistake that they have made. So they made them this mistake, but they can reverse it by deciding to talk to Harry and convince him that this was a mistake, that he's not a victim any longer, that they want him back, or by convincing people that this was a good decision, that this was the right decision. So what are they going to try and do? Are they going to try and get Harry back, or are they going to try and convince other people to the people that this was the right decision? So I'm going to ask, are they going to try and convince Harry to come back? And the answer is the Queen of Swords, and this is a yes answer again. First of all, because the Queen of Swords is a mature Lady of Swords, but the Queen of Swords is also a woman who is, or the archetype of a person who doesn't care about herself, but cares about the world, cares about social responsibility. This is the exact person that will care about traveling in a sustained travel. This is the exact person that will go and do whatever she can or he can to protect the environment. So because of that, the answer is that, yeah, they will try to convince Harry that they want him to be that Queen of Swords. They want him to be that archetype again. So they will try to convince him to come back. So they will realize that it was a mistake. They will try to convince him to come back. So we will see, and this is why we got the Six of Wands in the beginning. Because if you remember, At the beginning, I was asking for a significator card, and the significator card was the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups, I told you, was about second chances, about getting out of the comfort zone, and I said that this card is some kind of a combination between the Five of Cups and the Six of Cups in this deck because of the way that this card looks. And I said that in my intuition, it looks like Harry, who is looking at the what he could have had, the Four of Cups that are up, and the Two of Cups that are down, which is what Harry has lost. And that is because of the woman in the background. And when I asked, did TRAVALYST cut ties with Harry, the answer was Judgment in reverse. And I got Judgment, and the Six of Wands came with it. And Judgment was about a process, about some kind of change that doesn't nullify what happened before, but a change that is needed. And because it was in the reverse, I said that this change comes because of the feeling of emptiness, the feeling of feeling that they're not satisfied, and the fear of change. And I asked, who is afraid of change? Is it Harry? And the answer was that Harry is feeling that he is being sacrificed. Now, and then from here we got to the fact that the TRAVALYST cut ties and they did it very hastily. That was a mistake. That is why we got the Devil card, and that they can reverse it if they talk him out of it, if they talk to him and convince him to become the Queen of Swords or the person who cares about the environment. Now, will it succeed? The answer is yes. The Six of Wands is about victory. So yeah, they will succeed to get Harry back. And it is kind of logical because Harry doesn't have many things that are his own. So I think that he will be very glad to come back. But this is why we got the Six of Wands from the beginning, and this is why I kept it here. I was waiting to see how it will fit in, and that was the last card because that was the outcome. So the outcome will be a victory because TRAVALYST will ask Harry to come back, and then the change will flip and become a positive change for TRAVALYST. So that will just nullify the change that the devil is making. So that is the tarot. And the first oracle is the Nature Whispers oracle, and this is for TRAVALYST. How should TRAVALYST act from now on? What should they do with their connection with Harry? So let's clear the deck. So how should TRAVALYST deal with Harry from now on? What should TRAVALYST do with Harry from Now on. Okay, so the answer that I'm getting is maintain your childlike spirit. Okay, so since the message is for a single person and not for a company, it's about being a child, but it is about a light that represents the virtue of a person or even a company. And that this light holds the memory of perfect trust, of fearlessness, and of total reliance in others. So preserving this light and reconnecting in it with it will allow them to see the world with child's eye and to be excited with new things and to make the world a happier place. So what this message actually tells them is not to be fearful, to be fearless, and to trust their own light and not act out of fear, but trust what they know, what they have. Okay, so this is one. Now the second oracle is the Madame ENDORA oracle. Now I have to say that I'm thinking about rehoming this oracle because I am not reconnecting with it. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and work with the book and not with a booklet. This, I have the book and and there is a booklet inside the box. Now up until now I've been working with a booklet that has a very short message that usually is enough, but I have to say that I haven't connected with this deck, although it's beautiful. And I always say that there are such amazing cards in it, and I always think about why am I not getting these cards when I need them. So now I hope that when I'm working with the book and not with the booklet, the connection will be better. So if it doesn't work, I might just rehome this deck. Okay, so let's see. Let's clear the deck. Okay, so TRAVALYST, okay. This card I'm just keeping here, and these two cards fell. And what do I have here? The Raven and Hindrance. So the Raven, it's about darkness that looms on the horizon, and fate has blocked this path for you. Interesting, because these two messages are kind of going together. So let's just put these cards here and let me find the messages. Okay, so hindrance comes from the realm of fable, and it represents an unavoidable delay. However, this is merely a temporary setback. If the current direction that TRAVALYST are heading seems to be leading to a dead end, then they need to pause to consider their options, to analyze their remaining possibilities and choose an alternate route to reach their desired destination. So this sounds very much like the tarot. Let's see what the Raven means. Okay, so though associated with danger and woe, the raven does not necessarily represent imminent misfortune. The raven warns that darkness looms on the horizon and advises to take heed. The raven's presence is a sign that circumstances may worsen. However, any damage caused by this forthcoming turmoil may be avoided with proper preparations. Okay, so this worked a lot better than how it works with the booklet, I have to say. And I really recommend this book because this book contains a lot more than just the interpretation of the cards. It has the history of the mythical history. It has a lot of the signs of the zodiac. It has divination by dreams, the wheel of fortune, secrets of the I Ching, a lot of wisdoms, and it's really interesting. So even about the Kabbalah. So really, really interesting book. So I really recommend the book, even if you're not getting the cards. Okay, so just to end it up with a Lenormand card from the Bluebird Lenormand. Now there is the Bluebird Lenormand, there is the Redbird Lenormand, if I'm not mistaken. And what I like about the Bluebird Lenormand is that it has the meaning of the cards on it, so you don't need the meaning of the cards to look for it all the time. So at least the basic meaning you have on the card. So let's start by just, okay, let's just start saying, okay, Travelist and Harry, Travelist and Prince Harry, Prince Harry and Travelist, Prince Harry, Travelist, Prince Harry, and Travelist, Prince Harry, and Travelist. Okay, nothing jumps, so let's just take a card and see what we get. Two cards with the left, and we get the Cavalier, which is the rider, and the birds. Okay, so the rider, it's about heed well good news from the Cavalier. Impatient views promise good cheer. Sadness that hides veiled in the day, once disguised, soon flies away. So the writer is about good news usually. It's about positive messages, about good outcome, about progress. And this, it does it does matter which cards come near it, which cards are right, whether the cards are, near it are bad or not. And the card near it is the birds, and the birds bring a message full of cheer. So both of these cards are positive. If this card falls distant, all is not clear. Whatever the outcome, remain without fear. Woes will be brief when the birds disappear. So the birds, it's about good messages, it's about good things, it's about cheerful, but it can also be about sorrow. It can also be about worries. So it depends on what kind of birds, and depends on where do they fall. But altogether, I think that we can say that these two cards are giving us good vibrations. So altogether, I can say that there are a lot of warning cards here. There's a lot of warning that is telling travelers that they need to understand what they do and to realize that what they do has significance And if they don't take the right measures, they will suffer. So if they are not taking the if they're not taking to heart the warnings, then the raven will bring the darkness and the fate will be blocked. So this is something that they need to understand, and I think that one of the things that they need to realize, that putting Harry aside the way that they did was not on their was not on their best, was not one of their best choices or best decisions. Okay, so this is it for this reading. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.